Stathopoulos and Josh Phegan come together in an incredible podcast, Grow, Scale, Master.
An energetic approach to drive progress, master skills, build strengths and put the strategy back into rapid business and personal success.
Backed by real-world experience in rapid scaling to playing the long-term game of business, it's the story of all the lessons learned on the journey to mastery.
Be inspired, renew your energy and chase the future with Grow, Scale, Master.
Con, this is a great little conversation, and it's not about like a medical doctor. It's about the whole conversation of a deal doctor inside of every business. And, you know, one of the big things that I see a lot of is that literally you've got a great buyer, you've got a great seller, should be able to bring them together. But an agent maybe has not experienced a bit of a change in market. Maybe they actually don't know how to communicate to the seller to help them to sell, or even to the buyer to be able to help them to come and buy and pay that little bit extra. Talk to us about why sales management is such an important skill set inside of any business, but particularly one where markets are changing.
I think I don't think it's just sales management. I think it's sales leadership.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be the principal, it could be a sales manager that's designated to, you know, that's their role and responsibility, or in some businesses it could be a tribal elder or someone that's had experience in these types of markets. But really important. I mean, how many deals are that close to getting done that aren't getting done right now? Simply because people don't have the dialogue, they don't have the experience, they're running in a state of emotion, they're not using logic. I'm talking about the agents. We know that buyers and sellers are going to normally have that type of stance, so to speak. But how many agents are running on emotion, saying, I need to get this deal done, I need to get the commission, I need to get the next one? So I think a deal doctor today is critically important.
Or too emotionally invested. So like I've got an agent I was doing work with recently, new to real estate last 18 months.
Yep.
Got an owner at 865,000, got a buyer at 850. I said, well, surely you'd bring that deal together.
Yeah, the deal's done.
He said, no. The owner needs 865.
Right.
And I said, but like, what?
Because they're factoring in his commission or her commission?
But the whole basic idea is that ability to understand that that's like literally 2% in like literally conditions where ultimately you're seeing significant changes to borrowing capacity and you know, number of buyers and X, Y, Z. It's a really important foundational idea. Why is it important? Because I think, you know, like sometimes you are so invested and you become the second vendor so that you defend, but not actually realizing that was actually the best price.
Yes.
And in 6 months' time, you actually realize it was a record price.
Yeah.
But I think that like ultimately buyers tend to kind of sniff out that markets have moved quicker than sellers have.
Correct.
And they tend to work it out a little bit quicker than sometimes agents do. But I love that idea that if I bring a deal to you and I say, hey, Con, I've got a buyer. Okay, great. And where's their offer at? Oh, their offer's here.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And I've got a seller. And where's the seller at? Oh, the seller's here.
Yeah.
And then you can ask them questions. What did the seller pay for the house?
Yeah.
Like, are they making money or are they losing money?
Yeah.
And understanding how many available properties are there right now in our market in that particular price range versus how many people are coming to opens, how many people are coming to auctions, what's actually happening to clearance rates. So you can get a bit of an understanding and a feel for that market and its conditions.
I think you're spot on there, Josh. The media has done an incredible job of being able to talk markets up and down.
Yes.
And in our market, if there is a talk of a rate rise or a rate cut, it's as good as occurring.
Yes.
Okay? The thing here, though, that I'm seeing is, you know, the good news is you've got an offer.
Yes.
Let's start off with the good news. And I think it's about the way we frame things. It's about the energy that we bring.
Yeah.
And if you're not following process, which you're big on and I'm big on as well, in terms of daily communication, what's recently sold, how many inquiries came through today, how many views, how many saves and shares, how many repeat inspections, how many offers, all the vital statistics that you should be checking literally every single day. It's hard to bring a deal close when you've got two opposing parties that will always want to sell for more or buy for more. Right, buy for less, I should say, right? So our job is to facilitate the emotion. It's to cut through that and use logic. And the thing is today, Josh, as you know, it's not how much more could we get.
Yes.
It's how much less are you willing to accept if we don't take this offer?
Yes.
Because that's the market that we're in right now.
And then you've got like Foop with the fear of overpaying.
Absolutely.
Or Fungo, the fear of not getting out.
Correct, yeah.
And you know what? I've never met a buyer who said, geez, I got that for a steal. Particularly in the day after they bought it.
Absolutely.
Like, the number of people go, oh, I've way overpaid on that.
That's right.
And then 6 months later, they realise, oh, I actually did pretty well. Now, this is interesting about like the role of creativity in bringing a deal together. And I was saying this to someone the other day. The opposite to me of depression is not happiness. happiness, the opposite of depression for me is creativity.
Yep.
Because in depression, there's no options. It's dark.
Correct.
As opposed as it was creativity, there's lots of ways that we could do this, and you're really bringing light to that particular subject matter. What do you do? Because like when you start to think about bringing deals together, sometimes you've got chronic overprices, and so you've got competitors that are out there that are overpricing listings. And my view is that sometimes we give them too much credit.
Yep.
I'm not sure they actually know that they've overpriced it because they're not maybe in market enough to know where the market's operating.
Correct.
The second conversation is overcoming buyer objections, because buyers are going to say, look, I think the market's going to go down a bit more. Maybe I'm just going to wait. Maybe now's not the right time to buy. And then off the back of that, now we're also getting seller objections. And the seller objections are saying, hey, I'm just going to wait till the market gets better.
Yeah.
I'm in a position that maybe I'll just wait until spring. We don't have to. We can rent it.
Yeah.
How important is it for people to use creativity when these new objections start to come up? Because I reckon it's pretty easy for people to develop an attitude of belief that everyone's right. And so what ends up happening is that no one does transactions.
I think it's critically important. And I think the thing is that I talk to our team about head, heart and gut.
Okay.
The head is the logic, the heart is the emotion, and the gut is the instinct.
Yeah.
We should know what the objections are going to be before a buyer or a seller raise them.
Yes.
And so that's why today, even more so, we're on the precipice of spring, right? We had 27th, call it 30% extra listings in terms of volume.
Yes.
From the last 4 months, last month in our business.
Yeah, wow.
We did 219 listings. We'd been averaging about 160, 170.
Wow.
So, and I'll get back to it in a tick, but the thing is there is either we're taking more market share.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that, or there's just more stock. So every business is going through the same thing. So what's going to happen in the next 30, 60, 90 days? There's going to be a flood of stock.
Yes.
Okay, because you've got to think about the psychology. Sellers now know that there's unlikely to be any further rate increases.
Yeah.
And any rate cuts for the first half of next year.
Now, this could either age really well or you've got it right.
Yeah, correct. That's exactly right. But it just, let's follow that for a tick. That means we're in the same market conditions today, potentially what we are in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
If I was thinking about selling in January and I've watched the market come down, how much longer am I going to wait to change my life?
Yes.
Birth, death, marriages, job relocation, etc. So we need to get into the role of being able to see objections, fully understand them and be able to work through them. So, okay, cool. So plan B. So Josh, have you definitely made the decision to sell? Yes. Okay, cool. And talk to me about that. They're not going to show you all their cards, but is there an option, Josh, that we could keep this house and not have to sell it? Could we investigate that? And I would be going so deep on vendor motivation. Conversely, with a buyer, I'd be going, you know what? You're right.
But there's also that false sense of hope that if I just wait another couple of weeks, the market will go back up again.
Could it?
Yeah, but here's the key thing that, like, I'm going to say, fundamentally, and Shane Oliver came out and said this recently, that he thinks that we're at the end of a 30-year super cycle.
Yes.
And if you go to have a look at the borrowing capacity, that even 1 or 2 interest rate reductions, doesn't see significant price growth.
I agree.
So whatever we come off is probably where we stay for a while.
Yeah, I agree. And that's okay. So now we need to be able to understand, okay, so this is a hand-to-hand combat sport without, using violence as a reference. So this is where we need to do exceptional buyer work. How easy can we make it for a buyer to make a decision on this property? Are we radically transparent? Are we providing, building and pests at no charge? Are we providing strata reports at no charge? Are we opening up the property multiple times? And you said this at our training event a couple of weeks ago. If you've got a private buyer appointment, which, by the way, one of our agents did, it was on our team chat this morning, and just schedule in an open home on through Agent Box on realestate.com and domain.com and make it an open, and they met the actual buyer that came through. It was an older gentleman that came through, was looking for his son. So we need to really get back into process here.
Yes.
We really need to nail the basics. We really need to elevate our standards. We really need to be professionals in this market and not be reactive. We understand that what we're in isn't going to last.
And I love this because Louis Christopher from SQM Research came out this week, and he said, like, literally, this is not a crash.
No.
It's a realignment.
Correct.
It's uncomfortable.
Yes.
But what you need to realize is this, like, fundamentally, house prices have a significant floor underneath them.
Correct.
Better known as a lack of supply.
Correct.
And so from that point of view, what you got to realize that, okay, great, it's going to come off a little bit. And what they're saying now is that literally the top 20% in terms of prices have really been hit the hardest nationally so far on all of the numbers. And ultimately, anything that's in that low end to middle sector is doing relatively okay.
Yeah.
But here's the key thing. It comes off a little bit, He goes, but literally, it's more likely to be much more resilient than what you're seeing in other
100%. And this is, you got to understand your market. I was with an agent yesterday, and they're in the inner west.
Oh.
And for them, they've got plenty of pipeline sellers, but those sellers are mainly, upsizers. They've got nothing to buy. So what do we revert to? Past clients, past appraisals.
Yes.
Let's go back to basics and nail the process.
And I think that that's interesting because we had 2 measurements that we wrote about in the daily email this morning. And one was about TLO and one was about number of listings under 28 days. So TLO is total listings on a website.
Yep.
So if I've got 10 listings on a website, I'm feeling pretty good. But how many of those total listings on website are under 28 days?
Yes.
Now, if 8 of them are over 28 days, then I've got a problem in terms of price points and buy work and what I'm doing to close out the transactions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's define the market that you're in. Let's get really clear on what are the moves that you must make daily. For example, I'm big on, daily communication with our vendors, even when you've got nothing to report. Hey, Josh, just letting you know, no new inquiries overnight. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a second wash of the people that came through, not this weekend, the weekend before, just see if I can uncover anything. Hey, Josh, letting you know, I've got no new inquiries, but I'm going to reach out to the buyer's agents. Hey, Josh, whatever it might be, because frequency will be trust. So we need to navigate the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months. We need to master the mundane. We need to absolutely nail routine and process. And if you can do that, you'll win.
Experiences that rapidly shaped you.
Con, I just remember, I think it was the Wayne Gretzky quote, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And I didn't realise that he was an ice hockey guy, which is what he was referencing. But I think that, the foundational idea here is that, ultimately have a go. And I'm going to say the number of times that literally, and I kind of love that naivety, I'm going to say when 08, 09 had kicked around, when 03 had kicked around, all of the different price changes that I'd seen in marketplace, I probably didn't have the level of awareness that I have today about that was what was actually happening in the economy. All I knew is that I just needed to work harder with buyers, and I needed to close deals more between the distance between the buyer and the seller gap. But I just think about that, literally, this is the best market of all time to establish yourself as an agent and to be able to build rapid market share.
Absolutely. My idea that's rapidly shaping me is exactly following that is it's time to reimagine.
Yes.
You got to reimagine everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about going back and kind of rebuilding your business because 9 out of 10 times you've got great foundations.
Yes.
Time to rethink it, time to reimagine. What if you could get that extra, those extra 3 listings and 3 sales every single month? What would that look like when the market shifts? So reimagining and repositioning, I think are going to be key.
Something that's changing your view.
Con, if you don't use the knowledge and experience that you've got, you miss out on bringing value to the world. And I think this is kind of interesting things that a lot of people worried about insecurities. I'm not good at AI, I'm not good at those things, but yet you've lived through a couple of cycles, so you understand about how relationships are so critically important when all of a sudden the marketing, in inverted commas, stops working. Why is it important for people to actually know what knowledge have you got, what experience have you got, and then learning how to apply that?
So you can work out where the gaps are, because where the gaps are all the gains. So you can, first of all, revert back to a playbook that worked.
Yeah, sure.
Or maybe it didn't work and that gave you the lessons. So I think for me right now is using your knowledge to be able to, inch forward every single day.
Yeah.
Whether it's yourself, your business, your vendor, your buyer, it doesn't really matter. So I think that the importance of being able to work out where gaps are is really, really going to hold you in good stead for the future.